everybody. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. It is really wonderful to be here, united in spirit and for spirit together. We have not done this session since November, so I'm very excited. I'm already moved into an altered state, so I'll, for those of you who have not seen me working before, when I move into an altered state of consciousness, the spirit friends are blending, and the collective, and then my voice changed sometimes, my face changed sometimes, but that is not the important part, none whatsoever. What's most important, like Paul said, that you will be part of this energy, part of this love, and with God. And so together, I would like to dedicate the session for world peace. Absolutely. So the conditions of this earth may be today be lifted and changed with the love that we have in our hearts. So for those of you who are healers, if you'd, would you mind just refraining from blending with my energy, because my consciousness then pull into that energy area. That's all I have to say. And if they open for question, if you can ask the question shortly, but not long ones, it's basically for me to be able to keep my awareness out of the way. It will never be 100% spirit. There's always be part of consciousness, part of this awareness, but they're very good in kicking me back out. So that's wonderful. I will leave everything up to them of what they want and how they want to work with us today. I set the intention and it will be up to them because they know what we need. I don't. So I have a candle here to open us with an opening prayer. Dear Father God, gracious, gracious, loving God, you have given us the gift of life. You have given us part of you, which is our soul. Dear Father, let our soul be so connected and united with you today, so that each and every one that joined us today will be receiving what they need on all levels, as you know. You are the greatest healer, Father, and so let us be your instruments here on earth. May today be the coming of peace on earth. May today be the eradication of all war, hunger. May today be a day that all will have shelter, food, and water to live a healthy life, the life that you have intended for us to live. Dear Father, let me be an instrument, a pure instrument for you today. I leave this time in your absolute loving hands. Amen. Paul?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Okay. So I'll just move into an altered state and it's going to take me a few moments.
I'm still singing that Rose. Beautiful song, wasn't it? the guides come in, you won't be mistaken that it's a guide. They've got very powerful personalities. Just peace and quiet, though, can send us all into an altered state quite easily, can't it?
My dear friend Paul, it is wonderful to be with you in this meeting again and with everyone else who have joined us today. When you sing the music, our world is joining you with this joyful energy because this is what we wish to see in the world of matter. When the world of matter is stricken with fear and agony, our world is in pain. Our world is not closing our eyes, if you should see it that way. Our world is with our spirit with you. When you are in a great fear, in a great distress in the world of matter, it is when our world gets further activated to your world. It is not within the power of the fear that you can liberate yourselves, but it is within the power of God that you can liberate yourself from the conditions of your earth. Many of you come in here today to ask many questions of our world. Many of you have joined today to find a resolution for the world of matter. Many of you are experiencing great anxieties. Those anxieties that are separating you from the world of spirit. Why would you experience anxiety if you know God? Why would you be in suffering if you know God? If you think for a moment that God has lost control over his creation, you ought to be mistaken. Beloved children of God, we will be speaking with you today, bringing you the revelation of the understanding and the revelation of the understanding from our world to your world will bring an harmony to your hearts. We are very much aware of what is happening in the world of matter. But none of you is aware of what is happening in the world of spirit. If you were to be aware of what is happening in the world of spirit, you would not be in such a condition. If you think that the war conditions that you have on earth will create an abanishment of your world, you are mistaken. If you think that the power that humanity has taken over, you are mistaken. And so the revelation that you receive from our world is the knowing that God is in the world of matter. God is in the world of spirit. God is in everywhere you look. Your world is experiencing a great distress, and it ought to happen. It ought to happen in order to eradicate all ignorance. It ought to happen to eradicate all darkness. It ought to happen to eradicate all fallacy of the power of the world of humanity. In time, you will realize that all that your world is experiencing, although it does not appear to you this way at this moment of time, but all that you are experiencing in your world is for the betterment of humanity. As difficult as it might sound to you, how could war be for the betterment? How could death be for the betterment? How could earthquake and tsunamis and all those things be for the betterment of humanity? But it is. God has brought this creation to the world of matter. And God will purify the world of matter. And the one who will be purifying the world of matter with God are the one who walk with God. As we said before, the greatest weaponry that you have is your soul. No other weapon is the strongest than the soul that God has given each and every one of you. And if you think that a missile can blow that soul away, you are mistaken. If you think that the missile can eradicate humanity, you are mistaken. The greatest weapon that you have is within each and every one of you. You have forgotten how to use it wisely. You have forgotten, as you all be entrapped with the anxiety of the world of matter. And so when you realize that the greatest strength, the greatest courage, the greatest weaponry, it is within you. And that weapon will never die, will never vanish, beloved children of God. Centuries and centuries ago, over time of humanity, that men have tried to eradicate. And here you are sitting in the Spirit of God. And so, beloved children of God, when you think the darkness is upon your world, find the biggest weapon, your soul. Fight with the biggest weapon that you have. You will never lose the battle. God needs each and every one of you to join his military. God needs each and every one of you to be aware of the soul that it is within you. And how can you activate that weapon within you? What ought to be doing? Certainly not to be with anxieties. Certainly not to be with a great fear. The fear of death, as you all know that you do not die. Even if you try, you will not die. To activate the greatest weapon of all is to allow for the Father to be with you in prayer, in silence. And so I may ask that each and every one of you at this moment, either you believe that it is the Spirit who's speaking to you, either you believe that it's the instrument mind who is speaking to you. Makes no difference to our world. There is a reality that one day you will be accustomed to. I wish to ask that for a moment you are going to pray. And from our world, we will activate the biggest weaponry that you have within you. And so your prayer ought to be to God only, to the great Spirit of all, to the great Spirit of all. And in your prayer, you ask for God to be united with you, with that soul that you have, that is being in a shamble of fear and agony. And so for a moment, may you close your eyes and pray to the great Spirit. Pray to the Great Spirit for that weapon within you to be activated, to become the soldier of God, to become God's greatest military on earth. This is the biggest winning. This is the biggest winning. Nothing else will win the war on earth. No one else will win. But that activation of that light that it is within you that ought to be activated. Do not sit there wondering. Do not doubt. Do not sit in fear and ask for something else. May you sit and pray for a moment. Pray to the Father. Pray to the Father. Those of you who have doubt, open your hearts. A few of you have lost the connection to the Great Spirit. Open your hearts. Let God speak to you internally. Open your hearts. God is the greatest Father. Open your hearts. Open your hearts. Release the burdens. Release the burdens. Let that soul be activated by the power of God. Let that soul of yours be activated by the power of God. Do not be afraid of any. Do not be afraid, beloved children of God. Many of you have the mind filled with worry. Open up your minds. Open up your minds. Open. That insomnia that you're experiencing will be relieved. Open your mind to God. Those of you experiencing shortness of breath due to your anxieties, open up your hearts. You will feel your breath will be changing. Open up. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to love, beloved children of God. Those of you who have the challenge with the hips, relax your right hip. Relax it. And continue to pray and relax your hip. Your right hip. Is one individual with a liver problem, we will not call you in. But that one individual with a liver problem, may you face the camera and relax your body. Relax your body. Beloved children of God, when you activate the soul within you with prayers to God, you are joining God ways. And allowing the power to be on earth. It is the people that will eradicate those conditions from your lives. It is nothing else but those people that activated the biggest weaponry, which is your soul. You are the one that will bring upon the earth the change, the great change, the great revelation, to bring the Father
to be with you on earth. When you caught in anger, when you caught in fear, when you caught in anxiety, you remove yourself from God. And so remember that the prayer will be your instrument to activate the biggest weapon of all. And so in the world of matter, you will be walking as God's soldier, activating the biggest, greatest military of all, to fight all darkness, to fight all conditions. Nothing else will win your war but your activation of that soul within you. It is God that has created your world, and it is God to decide what will happen with your world. No one else. And so it is your choice to choose to activate that weapon within you, to be God's soldiers. And we give you all the blessings from our world. All the blessings from our world, beloved children of God. All the blessings. All the blessings.
Beautiful, dear soul. Beautiful.
My dear friend Paul, if there is a time for a question or two, you may ask.
There's time. And would anybody like to ask beautiful guides a question? Put up a yellow hand if you have one. We've got a question from Jeffrey. Come on in, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Spirit, for the blessings. How must we understand your message of activating that weapon and being a soldier for God from the perspective of the one who inflicts violence on this earth?
Your deflection of that violence is the light. Time and time again, your world have experienced violence in an attempt to eradicate humanity. Were they successful, beloved son? Were they successful? We are asking you the question.
No, they were not.
Why would you be afraid of a momentary of violence? Your world will be experiencing great challenges coming upon you all. But it is the spirit within you that will come back to bring the light of the Father. If you think for a moment that the power is in the weapon of those people, as I said, you are greatly and gravely mistaken. When you shelter yourself in fear and anxiety, you succumbing to those weapons. As I and we have begun this meeting by telling you the world of spirit and God is in earth at this time. You do not have fear of violence. It is not God who afflicting the violence upon you. All your world, all the world of matter is coming to a great change that is beyond the capacity of your mind to understand. And so by you activating that weapon within you, you are being part of this power. The power that will be there for eternity. Do not allow a momentary fear, a momentary death, a momentary violence to create a shelter of your own light. Let that light within you shine. Be God's soldier on earth. That is the biggest weapon. Those people who inflicting and afflicting pain and suffering upon humanity. Their time on earth is short, and their time in spirit will be even shorter. But your time will be for eternity. Do not allow a moment of violence to overshadow that great soul within you. Let God come to earth to be with you. And it's you, the people, who will be creating, as you are God inside of you. And with that knowledge, you have the power to eradicate, not with the weaponry of those people, but with the greatest eternal power of all that you have within you, son. So continue to do the work that you have been doing. Continue to shed away the fear from your own mind. It will help your physical body. It will help your mental body. Shed away the fear. Shed away the anxiety that you carry for a while. Do not allow it to overcome the greatest power of all.
Thank you, very helpful.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Not helpful for your world to prevent the ammunition that your world is using at this time. But you must remember that that time will be eradicated for a greater change. A change that will be revealed upon your world. But you must be part of this change by activating that soul within you. Do not allow it to sit dormant with fear. Do not allow it to be idle with anxieties. Do not allow it to be sheltered with violence. We repeat, your biggest and greatest weapon is your soul, eternal soul, that power that God gave you to live life. It will never be eradicated with any violence or any weapon. And that's what you all ought to know and to realize. That to fight that war is to allow your soul to be activated at all times. To not allow it to be sheltered by fear or anxieties, but to bring it to the forefront of that line of duty that you call in your world. And that line of duty is your biggest defense. You ought to remember, beloved son, that no weapon can take and bomb that soul away. And so in your generation, and one more generation to come, you will experience challenges, and that to clear the way for the generation after, as God will be among you. And here in the world of spirit, you will say, I too was that soldier who walked upon the earth to be in the first line of defense. You may not know what you are doing. You may not know the power of the activation. But the power of the activation of your soul will create great changes beyond any military, beyond any weaponry, beyond any fallacy of the ego and power of your world. All of that will be eradicated in new time. But you will be here in the world of spirit, proudly looking at the world of matter, and say to God, I am part of this. So my beloved son, activate that soul within you and pray to God to be with you on earth. Activate the animals, activate the trees, activate everything you do with that power. Don't just believe in the power, but know the power. Know that power that it is there with you. Know the power of God. That is your biggest defense.
Thank you for the question, Jeffrey. And dear soul, that was a beautiful answer. We have a question now from Henrietta.
Can we do anything to help others eradicate their fear and anxieties in this period of time?
We help others to eradicate their own fears and anxieties.
My dear friend Paul, we hope we answered the previous question to our beloved friend Jeffrey.
Similar question, so it's a similar answer, yeah.
How can you help somebody else who is in great fear? How can you help somebody else who is experiencing the great violence? How can you help somebody else who is experiencing great anxieties? When you understand your inner working of your own spirit, when you know, I don't say believe, I say know, when you know how to activate your own activation of your own soul, you have the answer. When you sat with our beloved friends earlier and you made the prayer to connect to the great spirit of all, was your soul activated?
I felt mine was, yeah.
May this friend answer the question.
Henrietta?
I believe mine was.
And therefore, you know what to do to activate others. When you sit with a beloved friend of yours or a family, and you listen to their anxieties and fear, you sit there, and while you're listening, you're activating your own spirit with your mind making a prayer to the great spirit to send an activation to that friend in front of you. And those frequencies that you will be sending will be the frequency to activate the frequency of that beloved friend's spirit without saying any words, without trying to influence that individual who is not willing to listen. But your spirit will create an activation of that friend who's sitting with you. You will notice that there will be a change in the way they speak, and they may move in some discomfort as their soul is being activated without them even aware. But they will sense the change, and then change will be greatest than any type of conversation or words. Once you activate your own soul, you're able to send that frequency, to change the frequency and the sequencing of that frequency of that friend who's sitting there with anxiety. And you continue to do, and you will see that in due time that beloved friend will change. But it is your activation, and we use the word activation, the most important word for you to remember from today. When you activate your soul, you activating that sequencing of frequency that it is from the great spirit of all. And you will change yourself. Everything about your own life and being will change. And so when you meet someone else, they too will change in time as your own sequencing has changed. And when you make that click of your activated soul with the frequency of God, all frequencies within your environment will change. And so you will bring upon humanity that great the greatest change of all. But your soul must be activated. And to activate, you pray to God, not once in a while, but all the while. Pray to the Great Spirit to be united with your spirit. And in due time, that frequency of your spirit will change. And that change will change the frequency of your beloveds. And everything you touch will be touched by the power of God, the greatest power of all.
Thank you, dear soul. I don't think we have time for any more questions, Amy.
My dear friend Paul,
Dear soul, thank you for coming this evening.
from our world, we are grateful.
I think we're very grateful to hear your wisdom. There's so many of us with anxiety at the minute, that your words are so wise and informative and instructive.
May you all be with the power of God. May you all, beloved children, be united with the sequencing of God, the true Father, and the true Father who created you, who gave you life. Be that soldier. Be that soldier to be in the first line of defense. And all in due time, all in due time will be purified to the greatest power. But it's the people, it's the people who will bring the change, the greatest change of all, where your world will never experience another dark night. In due this time, in due this time, be with God, not with anyone else. May you have the blessing of the light.
And blessings to you too. Well, it was a very powerful evening, wasn't it? Or afternoon, or even good morning. And beautiful straight talking as well. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Wait till you hear the recording of that. It gives so much hope to this world at this moment. And there's so much anxiety and fear in everyone's lives at the minute that, yeah, we all needed that one.
Thank you
I
very much.
There was a chance where we all did our own prayer to God, make our own connection, right in the middle of that one, Rickie.
Thank you very much.
And I know that the guide was saying, do it from your heart. And I felt it being spoken from my heart. And it was very clear and lucid. I don't know if everybody else experienced saying their own prayer from their own heart. Did anybody else have a beautiful prayer going round in your own mind at that moment? Yeah, Brigitte is nodding. What did you experience, Brigitte?
Quite the same as you, Paul.
I found it easy to find words, and
Yeah.
they just flowed.
Yeah.
But I think that the guides were also saying about change, that a great many people are feeling change. And I think he was talking about not change in the earthly conditions of borders on countries and money in your pocket. I think he was talking about the change from material to spirit, where, you know, we're making the change by opening our heart centers to link directly with the God power, communicate directly with the God power. And that's the change when we link and speak with God ourselves for helping other people, then that will effect a massive change, won't it? Anybody else perceive that? Anybody else like to make a comment about feeling the changes taking place?
It's like Amy had her hand up. Amy.
Hi. Sorry. What was a question about? I felt like you spoke to me first up today. I was just speaking to somebody about fighting negative energy. And I feel like I do that at nighttime, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. But I oftentimes flying and I'm fighting with my energy through another, as I perceive to be a negative entity. And then I wake up and I feel that mesh of energy. I don't know, I do it instinctively. And I just wanted to know if you knew more about that.
Well, I think that you can't ask Rickie that question because it wasn't Rickie who was talking. I know that she was the mouthpiece.
Yes.
But it was the guides who were talking, spirit
I
people.
know.
But I think they answered it anyway, because if you open your heart and you make the link to the God power by saying a lovely prayer, to get you basically communicating it and then talking with the God power, and then you'll hear the answers, you feel them, you'll know, and opening up that way of communication opens up a doorway of light. And if any dark energy, negativity, or anything around you, that light just blows it away. And
Right.
Henrietta was asking the same answer really that Jeffrey got, was open up your own pathway to the God power through your heart, through prayer, and then it destroys anxiety in yourself, and then you can pass on the destruction of anxiety and fear and negativity to those who are around you by inviting them to open up their hearts. You can answer if you like, Rickie, but you won't know what
I'm not quite fully back.
About, yeah. You wouldn't know
not,
you wouldn't know what was being spoken about.
I'm not quite fully back, but I would just encourage you to allow fear just to dissipate. It's all the mental, within the mental energy, within the the emotional, being fearful and thinking about this energy and that energy, the unpleasant, you know. So surround yourself with that wonderful light and be the light and expand it from inwardly outwardly. And that's the power that will, you know, move away all of those kind of thinking.
I feel the light and I feel very connected.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just wondering why I'm doing this at nighttime. I do it
Because
often.
that's where we are sensitive at nighttime.
Yeah.
A great, that's where we are sensitive, higher sensitivity. You know, everything is quiet and we feel the frequency, we feel the vibration, everything is quiet. So we are more sensitive. We become aware. It's like when somebody with a cough, you know, a manages coughing all day long, and then when they go to bed, they cough more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's quiet, it's silence, vibration changes, and you become more aware of this, of the subtle vibration.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a different healing session to normal, but then circumstances on the earth plane are different to whatever we've experienced in our lifetimes, aren't they? Not everybody. Some people have experienced wars, etc. I haven't.
I'd love to hear feedback about what
Yeah,
they
there
said.
was
Always wonderful.
there was one person who had a liver issue, and there was another one with a right hip issue. Would anybody like to say if they experienced anything? I know I did. I had a tingling all around my forehead.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really strange sensation, and you could feel an opening in the heart chakra as well.
Mm-hmm.
You coming back in, Henrietta?
Yeah, I felt it in my crown chakra being opened and my heart chakra was open.
It's a tangible feeling, isn't it? You could
Yeah.
really feel something happening. Linda, did you feel anything? Come on in.
Yeah, I had a really shivers, icy cold shivers a couple of times during the session.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, the energy that moves is neither hot nor cold, good or you don't express it in earthly terms. So shivering is just the energy and your awareness and response. And you could have had it warmer; it might have felt better. You know, there's proof that there's something going on, isn't it? When you actually feel something tangible like that. So Marie, would you like to give feedback?
Just trying to unmute.
Oh, sorry, I'm very sorry I couldn't get unmuted. Yes, I'd just like to say, well, it was a wonderful evening, and I did feel quite hot at one point, and I also could feel subtle energies working round about me, inside me, and also I did feel as if Spirit was talking to me personally, not like talking to everybody. I know Spirit was talking to everybody in the group, but it was like as if it was all a personal message to me and advice for me, and it was just amazing. It was just fantastic. And thank you very much, Rickie, and thank you, Paul, for organising it. I'm just kind of blown away, really.
No, we're glad you came along.
It's really beautiful how they activate what each needs in order to receive what each needs. So it's there such a high vibration. I'm still sitting in this high vibration. So when they come in always with to give what the people need, not what I want them to do or what I wish for them to do. That's just out the window.
Yeah.
So the healing, even though we said the healing as a trance healing, but they came and I know they were delivering healing at the same time when they were speaking, because the energies were just just incredible. So it's a collective, the collective that's coming in and giving and sharing their love from the Spirit to us to help us settle what we are experiencing. So yeah, some of you experience all this bodily sensation, which tells you, I said anybody can fake face and voice, but no one can, sorry for the word, fake the energy that you're experiencing. I have no control over it. And that tells you of the power of the Spirit, of the presence of the Spirit, of how much they so much want to help us. They come and they so much want to help us to create the changes for us individually, so we can be strong and we can go through whatever we're going through in our life right now in the world. So when you experience this vibration, cold, heat, shiver, all of this, that tells you their presence. So I always say we give heaven touch earth when we give them that time. So I am so grateful for Paul to give us the opportunity to allow us to come with our spirit friends and to give them the time to express and to be with us, because otherwise they wouldn't, if we don't have this type of gathering. And yes, we are. I sat in a prayer all day yesterday, all day yesterday, from morning to night, just asking for God to help us to overcome these challenges. And so, but thank you very much, Paul, for really putting this together, to give Spirit the opportunity to express and be with us.
Well, the thanks are all to the people who attend and yourself, Rickie.
Yes.
So without the people attending, there wouldn't be a night with a session.
There wouldn't be a night, there wouldn't be a
No.
session. Thank you very much.
There's some lovely messages coming through. Lisa has just said, I hope I can raise my frequency enough to abandon all fear. Spirit friends give such hope. And they do sound as if they're speaking directly to you as the recipient. So quickly then, Juliet and Monique would like to give feedback. Juliet?
Yes, I didn't want to come forward, but I did. Thank you, Rickie, and thanks to your spirit team working with you. I always have problems to stay awake because I always have the feeling that my energy is connecting. And in the beginning, it was said, don't let the healers that are in the room go into that healing mode. So I was, it was like a challenge for myself, not to heal, but just to maybe help add to whatever energy was needed. So I was in and out actually of my own awareness, but I'm sure you know how it works. Yes. But thank you anyways for bringing this forward, Rickie. It was lovely, as far as I have noticed something in my awareness, but in my subconscious mind I could feel it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Juliet, for being here. Yes, it's very much pulling you. One of the things is that you will feel pulling, massive pulling from your solar, from throat, your chakras, you know, massive pulling. You feel like you're drawn into this computer, you're drawn because those energies, and you being a healer, why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you? So they also moved you into this altered state of consciousness. Yes, but it doesn't, I was in a session doing a demonstration, and someone was sending my way, wanting to lift my energy, and it brought my consciousness back, because it wasn't chiving, but none of this happened today. It was so much love. I could only feel the love.
Yes, okay.
Only feel the love. Thank you very much. Thank you for contributing. Thank you.
Monique, thanks for co-hosting, Monique.
Yes, no problem. Thank you, Rickie. Thank you to your spirit team. It was a wonderful evening for us, for you in the morning, noon. And the thing I wanted to say with the prayer, I wasn't praying with my eyes closed because I was scanning the room and just checking that every mic stays off and things went smoothly. But I was monitoring the people as well, and it was so beautiful when the prayer started, and most of us got their eyes closed, and you saw the energy and saw the faces of the people change really in that serene mode, and I felt the energy change in a completely other different atmosphere, and that was so beautiful to monitor and to sense. And so thanks to the spirit team for bringing us. And at one point they were telling about when we arrive at on the other side of this life in heaven, we look back and we see the world, and we are proud that okay, we were part of this, we were part of this whole progression. And I was feeling that I got tears in my eyes still when I think about it, because I want to be part of this, and I want to be a soldier of God. Absolutely. And the weapon is the soul, and that was a beautiful message. So thank you, Rickie, and thanks, Paul, for organizing.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Monique. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the feedback. I'm looking forward to watch the recording.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
I
feedback.
think you'll be surprised. They were adamant that we can get rid of all anxiety and fear by connecting with the God power through prayer from our hearts. And like Monique said, I open my eyes every now and again, and it did seem a very serene place, this little Zoom gathering that we have. Beautiful.
They probably were as they were speaking, just removing the conditions.
Yeah.
Helping to raise the vibration.
Yeah, I certainly feel a lot better for it. I'm sure other people do.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Somebody on the radio said, probably in advance, because of all these, they could tell there was something afoot, couldn't they? The security services said about it, didn't they? And so on the radio, there was somebody said during the last war, last Great War, somebody on the British radio said, right, we're going to have a minute of prayer every night. When Big Ben strikes, that'll be the time for prayer. And after the war, in the trials, one of the Nazis said, "Yeah, but you people had something else on your side. We couldn't defeat that." And the person he was speaking to said, "Well, what was that?" And they said, "Is your minute of prayer. We couldn't defeat the link you as a nation had with the God power."
How beautiful.
And he actually believed it. He was adamant that the power of prayer did that. Yeah, so there we go. Rickie's guides have given us all the guidance to do that. And that's what we can do instead of feeling powerless in this situation, is activate the power of prayer. So I think that's as far as we can go today, ladies and gents.
Yes.
So thank you very much for joining in. Our normal is to give a round of applause to our work.
Don't worry. Yeah.
Rickie.
Give a round of applause to yourselves for being here and taking the time and giving us the opportunity. So give round of applause to yourselves. And shall we do a closing prayer, Paul?
I forgot to say, yeah. Let's have you do the closing prayer. Thank you. Let us close our eyes for one more moment as we hold this light. And let's imagine that this is the light, that it is within us, the God force within us, the power that God gave us. Dear Father, we are so grateful for your graciousness, for your love, for the spirit that you have given us.
We are so lucky to walk upon the earth at this time and to be part of this awakening time. We are thank you for the breath you gave us, for the time we shared together, for the wisdom that came from your world, for us being instrument of light. Dear Father, please, please hear and respond to each and every one prayer today. Let peace be upon our earth sooner, Father. Be no child experience fear. Be there be only peace, food, shelter, and water for all your children. Dear Father, let us be with you together, to be and to fight this war together with your love, with your power. Amen. Amen.
Rickie.
Thank you.